So I haven't put up anything in a while, in a couple of weeks. Had to take a little step back from my own kind of personal reasons. It's important I don't let this kind of stuff consume me, being honest with you, which is essentially what's happening kind of. And it's in their favour, being honest with you, to go down this road and let this kind of consume me, where they bounce me from one spot to another spot to another spot. It's pretty clear the Irish government have no interest, or the state, of dealing with any kind of corruption regarding their politicians or the breaches in protocol from various organisations. But just because I haven't posted that in a few days or in a couple of weeks, it doesn't mean I've given up in any way. I'm no less deterred in any sense. They're trying to suppress this within Waterford, to keep all this information in Waterford, especially regarding that whole kind of murkiness which went on that charity children's group, like 20 odd years being covered up. And they're waiting for me to speak about certain things because there's a case due. So I'm kind of holding my tongue regarding that. And then I'm going to read out the messages, which I always said I was going to. So I'm going to wait on that. But if I was lying or defaming people or slandering people, like, they would take a civil case against me, would they not? Some of these now are now classed as actually criminal cases, criminal action. So they could go to the guards. Like, I was already brought to court by the guards for some trumped up fucking driving charge there a couple of years ago. I forget even what it was, but to cut a long story short, I couldn't get a solicitor. I ended up having to represent myself. I eventually got the charge struck out. Another time then the landlord out in Tranmore, Pat Doyle, stole me deposit, basically made a statement saying I was at to threaten him, there was no deposit. I eventually found a tenancy agreement showing him to be a liar, but again I couldn't get a solicitor in Waterford, so I had to represent myself, and again I got that struck out as well. I appeared recently, family courting up in Dublin, their safety order, as we all know. I've spoken about it, but again had no solicitor. So it's clear, like, I can't get a solicitor. So it's in their interest. Now's the time, like, to come after me legally. Do you know what I mean? Unless there's some kind of truth in what I'm saying, and by me putting up a defence in the courtroom, it would expose the truth. This is essentially what's going on. This is why they won't provide me with any kind of legal assistance, because they don't want anyone in the legal profession hearing of how much of a scandal this is, because this is a scandal. Like, nobody wants to, no journalist wants to be the reporter that covers that whole children's group link bullshit what went on. Nobody wants to write that fucking so many members of the ex-mayor, ex-minister's family were involved in a lot of the shoddy behaviour up there. Do you know what I mean? And while they built their name based on the fucking foundations of that place, do you know what I mean? The foundations of that place is on the foundations of that charity is on unstable ground, and it has been for like many years, not just because of my case. Like, that was always spoken about in Waterford, do you know what I mean? And anyone in Waterford will tell you that, but the people in Waterford, they're a cowardly bunch of people, if I'm being honest with you. And I know I'm probably doing myself no favours here, I'm probably ostracising myself even more, but they are, like, it is what it is. And not just because of my situation, because the stuff up in children's group, like, wouldn't have been left happen. Do you know what I mean? This is ever before my situation, but you all stood back and you all knew who done it. You all know repeatedly how he done it, because everyone knows someone who knows everyone. Do you know what I mean? You all know then who covered up for him and essentially left him to continue doing what he done, so, which is what he did do, and the same people covered for him again and again and again. Do you know what I mean? And now you're in the position where you have to keep continuing covering for him, because if you don't, you're going to expose all the people that covered for him. And what you have there now is you have political influence and you have guerrilla influence doing everything in their fucking power to cover up what went on there. Because, as I said, you don't want the journalists highlighting how the ex-mayor, ex-minister's family have so many questions to answer regarding everything that went on up there. And not just up there, there's multiple other questions regarding other issues in Waterford that they should be held accountable for. Go on to me TikTok, onto the very first video, you see Ray Halligan, brother of fucking John Halligan, do you know what I mean? Brother of Mary Halligan, who was running Children's Group Link, and you see him there and trying to pass a tray through me, through one of the girls who was going to be a potential witness to one of the sexual abuse allegations going back years. Do you know what I mean? Now, he clearly breaches someone's bail conditions, and I spoke of this in previous videos. They were after hacking me messages a couple of days before, so they knew what emails and messages I had. So it was in their interest to try and continue what was being done, which is essentially pass threat through any of the girls coming forward. That's essentially what went on for years. The IRA, their name was like bandied around, kicked around at times. Now, it had nothing to do with fucking the IRA or any of this kind of stuff. I found out afterwards it was just someone using the name, and someone within Sinn Féin, and the people that were using the name were not actually even part of Sinn Féin. They were actually friends with somebody high up in Sinn Féin, and they were left to use the name. That's no word of it. But as I said, yeah, the state have no interest there now. If you notice, I've been writing every week to Minister McEntee, like, this woman is like, let's be honest about it, the sooner this woman goes, the better, but who's going to take her place? She's clearly not up to doing the job, do you know what I mean? She's clearly biased against the people for the government, do you know what I mean? She does more for the government than she does for the people. I've been writing on a weekly basis to this woman, like, to get some kind of legal assistance. They won't even let one solicitor look at my case, not even one solicitor, even to just look over and say, well, there's no real case here, and they could do that, because then I could get a ruling on it and I can take it to the European courts. They won't deal with me unless I've explored all domestic channels in Ireland, which is essentially what they've been telling me, and I'm waiting for them at the moment to get back to me. And I didn't want to be too hasty by putting up too many kind of videos, kind of, because, as I said, there's a court kind of thing pending regarding that whole children's group link and all that. And to be honest with you, when that's all over and done with and all the appeals are finished and the messages are read, people will see it for what it is. If I'm being honest with you, people will see it for what it is. They can hate me, they can bring me to court, I don't mind. I'm only going to, like, put the truth out there, and I'm going to show you how two certain people were behind covering it up time and time and time again. Not to mention the third person who repeatedly fucking continued to do what he was doing, even after getting his actions covered up once and twice. He still went and done it again and again and again. And their idea of dealing with him was to promote him repeatedly through the place, put him back around the same girls, and only recently then they tried to put him into fucking Irish politics in an effort to discredit the girls and try and cover the whole lot up. Like, that should be an issue to people in Waterford. Do you know what I mean? Most importantly, the councillors, TDs, fucking girls. Instead, you have them all covering up for him. Obviously, I've had a kind of difficulty trying to explain all this stuff. And you think about it, it's 11 years. Trying to explain 11 years of stuff. And Waterford Council are up their neck in this. I spoke with this previous kind of like videos. Like, my ex started all of this with this crazy fucking woman that I was in this religion with in Tramore named Anne Carey. This can all be explored. They won't go and check into this again because they've already probably checked it and they've seen that I'm telling the truth. But based on all that sexual shite that was after been spread around, which nobody seems to have the moral integrity to go to the guards and report it. Like, if I'm all these things, why aren't you reporting it? Do you know what I mean? Keyboard warriors. But yeah, like, my mother was in bed, and Roisin Doherty and Leo Kennedy from Waterford City Council, they assumed it was that they been ran out of the house on Barrack Street and that my tattoo stuff was out of the house. I was after bringing in the tattoo stuff the night before, and I went back and I got it a couple of hours later and just moved it. And these two people, because the neighbours were harassing me mother and watching me mothers, and they had informed them that I had brought my tattoo stuff in. So the next day they went out and decided to let themselves into my mother's house and search for my tattoo and stuff, not realising that my mother fell sick that day and she went home to bed and came back like a half an hour after she left. So she was in bed around 12 in the daytime, and she woke up in her bedroom to find Roisin Doherty and Leo Kennedy, and they both searching her bedroom looking for my tattoo stuff. And my mother sat up and she asked them what did they want, and they ran down the stairs, Roisin Doherty holding a clipboard up to her face, trying to hide her face, and they ran down the stairs and out the door. And this was all covered up with the assistance of Joe Daniels in Waterford City Council, and he was assisted by members of Sinn Féin, and this is how this originally kind of got as big as it is. So I'm sure you can kind of see the kind of seriousness in, like, what I've been saying. If you go back through my videos, like, it doesn't really get kind of more serious, let's be honest about it. And I'm trying to push this information out there. They're trying to suppress the information. They're trying to do everything in that except have it investigated. If you notice, they're doing everything to try and provoke me. This has gone on the last couple of years now, being honest with you. And as I said, my wife is waiting to speak on camera, and I'm kind of reluctant to drag my wife into this kind of, but I will speak to her on camera and give you an idea of kind of what's going on socially. And the reason I haven't uploaded all my case on the yoke is because I'd be giving these people knowledge of what information I have. So, like, I can't be kind of that hasty. But I'll eventually put it together. I'll probably have to make a 4-part fucking video, being honest with you, and put it up on YouTube. It's that long. Because as I said, it's covering 11 years, like, and 11 years is a long time. And what I've spoken about all has a paper trail. Do you know what I mean? They don't want this, like, getting out, you know what I mean? They want to dictate to people, like, while they wave one hand in your face and they hide the other hand behind your back, like, trying to keep your attention on the one hand they're waving in front of your face. I'm not doing that. I'm saying, why don't you, like, check out both hands? And at the same time, you can investigate all the stuff that's going around about me. Investigate that first. Do you know what I mean? And then if what I say about that, do you know what I mean, and the whole kind of fucking manner that was done, if that turns out to be true, then investigate what I've been saying further. But Anne Carey, employed by Waterford fucking Tussle, needs to be, like, struck off. She needs to be investigated instead of being paid from the fucking Irish government. The Irish government needs to just generally, like, step up. You have a solicitor caught red-handed. There's documentation shows that she's lying and that she deleted the file. So she's fucked, let's be honest about it, you know what I mean? But she got her actions covered by a member of Sinn Féin who was able to pull strings in Waterford. That crowd of Children's Group Link got their actions covered by a member of Sinn Féin who pulled strings in Waterford. The Waterford City Council got their actions covered by members of Sinn Féin in Waterford, you know what I mean? I know that probably sounds like I'm having a go at Sinn Féin as a party. I'm not. These people could have easily been Fianna Fáil or fucking Fine Gael. They just happen to be members of Sinn Féin. And that's why I'm calling it out. I'm not going to be suppressed because of a party's fucking name, do you know what I mean? Do I think that the whole of Sinn Féin are like this? No, I don't. Do you know what I mean? But it's up to Sinn Féin to police their own fucking party at the same time. They know these people are hiding within their party. Do you know what I mean? So if they weren't engaged and corrupt in the manner that they were, I wouldn't be talking about it. Do you know what I mean? You have Waterford Gardaí, fucking, I don't know, I think there's half a dozen kind of, like, incidents with Waterford Gardaí where there's a huge paper trail and GSOC are ignoring it. There's a huge paper, there's probably more, like, but there's a huge paper trail, like, of what went on with Waterford Gardaí, from being assaulted in front of my wife, from having fucking, like, stuff planted on me, to be rammed off the road, and the case was shut down within 2 weeks. Fucking, there's just loads of stuff. The failure by Waterford Gardaí to follow protocol in Waterford and breach protocol and code of ethics and code of conducts. This is exactly the same as what went on in Children's Group Link. Do you know what I mean? And we all know Children's Group Link and the link Mary Halligan being the sister of John Halligan, the ex-mayor and ex-minister. And that's only kind of the tip of the iceberg regarding that place. But it's the same cronyism and it's the same influence that's rampant through the Guards, through Waterford Council, do you know what I mean? Through Children's Group Link, through Tussle. It's the same thing. And people are not willing to fucking go that extra mile to be heard. Do you know what I mean? And if you do, like in my case, they gaslight you and make you look like you're all fucking, like you're all sorts and you're mentally ill and all this kind of stuff. People are more concerned about fucking socially, how they're, like, fucking deemed on social media and stuff. At what point do you say enough is enough to this kind of stuff? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is affecting your kids and your grandkids, and you're going to vote these people back into fucking power. I don't know, I find it hard to kind of, like, fucking swallow this kind of, like, the system is so corrupt that that's just the way it is and you have to take it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can at least fucking try, and if I get nowhere, I'll get nowhere, but I'll continue to try until the fucking day I die if I have to. If I'm being honest with you, I will, because what I'm saying is the truth. Do you know what I mean? And there's principle in the fucking truth. And the fact that these people are doing everything and anything not to have this investigated, that alone should tell you something. Like, I call out Children's Group Link, let's be honest about it. How Children's Group Link can be now called the Mary Halligan Foundation, right? After, like, this woman was aware of fucking the majority of the stuff that went on up there. Was there ever, like, any in the tribunal, was she ever, like, questioned about, like, what procedures fucking, like, she went about kind of reporting this, reporting that? Like, at what days did she back out of this? At what days did she report that? Like, where's the paperwork regarding all of that? Oh, but it's okay because she's the sister of John Halligan, who's the ex-mayor, ex-fucking minister. It's okay, she's, like, above all this. She's not above all this. We have her brother Ray Halligan passing a threat. Do you know what I mean? Breaching the bail conditions. And Waterford Gardaí, they won't even look into it. They won't even take my wife's statement. They won't take my statement. The video is on, the very first video on TikTok. Have a look at it. Do you know what I mean? The actions speak for themselves, really. And Miss Helen McEntee, she's aware of all of this. that whole drama around the car where Ray Halligan tried to pass a threat through me, there's actually more to it. You can probably tell this because I've bleeped some of it out and I don't, and I protected somebody's names, but I was after getting messages around that time of the details of what went on regarding children's group link, and it was in Waterford Gardaí's interest not to look into this because they fucking highlighted how Waterford Gardaí failed over the years, despite him knowing, because they knew what was going on up there. It'd be different to say, well, we didn't know. Well, the messages highlighted that they did actually know. Let's be honest about that. And it was in this person's interest, Ray Halligan, to try and pass that threat to me. But Waterford Gardaí, they wouldn't take the statement. They wouldn't even speak to my wife. They wouldn't take the statement off my wife. They wouldn't take a statement off of me. Like, why would you not take a statement? He's clearly in the video. You can see him in the mirror. Look in the mirror. You can see him trying to handle my door. Do you know what I mean? Like, but again, because he's the brother of John Halligan. Do you know what I mean? He's above the law. Now, I have to stop there. For legal reasons, I have to stop there. I could really go into fucking details there. And people at Waterford know this. Do you know what I mean? And then there's another brother, Henry Halligan. This is the person who passed private emails back to fucking TD David Conlan, who's like the beloved friend of John Halligan. Do you know what I mean? But we could really go into details now about him and the rest. But for legal reasons, I suppose, for now, I'll say nothing. Yeah, so I just wanted to make a quick update and just like notify and just highlight how I'm not giving up or I'm not deterred in any way, shape or form. And eventually I will put it all up on YouTube. And I know there's not many subscribers to my YouTube channel, which is the whole point for these people, because they don't want this information getting out. Do you know what I mean? And whether or not you want to share this information, like, that's entirely up to yourself. I'm not telling you to share it. If you want to share it, share it. If you don't want to share it, don't share it. Do you know what I mean? But it's in the interest of these people to keep this scandal and this corruption covered up. Do you know what I mean? You would have thought you would have learned something from the Bill Keneally case. Let's be honest, in Waterford. When you have an identical case, which it is, it's identical. So I'll eventually put this on YouTube. I'll get the whole lot down in video and I'll go through it, because I have a mountain of paper that supports what I'm saying, and it would take a while to explain all this. If there's any journalists out there that wants to fucking like put their head on the chopping block and even look into this, because that's essentially what you'd be doing. You'd be risking it's kind of professional suicide. That's what a solicitor said to me. And a journalist looked into it for me up in Dublin, told me how members of Sinn Féin were leaning on a journalist not to cover this case for obvious reasons. But if you wanted to try and get in contact and just hear me out, don't cover the case, just hear me out and see what documentation I have, and then you can take the case if you want or not take the case. But eventually I'll put it up on YouTube. I'll get the next few weeks out of the way, I suppose, and yeah, just wanted to say that anyway. So I'll be back in touch and leave it there, I suppose. Thanks.